Today is Wednesday, November 23rd, 2022. Welcome to the Survivor Fans Podcast. I'm Joanne.
And I'm Stacy.
And this is our recap for Survivor 43, Week 10.
This episode's titled, Get That Money, Baby. It was spoken by Jesse, but it was actually authored by Jesse's son.
That's right.
Got to hear it a couple times. Gobble, gobble, gobble. This is the plus side of having the Wednesday night episodes. You remember what it used to be like when Survivor aired on Thursdays? We would get that flashback episode. It wasn't new content. It would be a look back at the season.
Sometimes we got new content.
Well, there was always promise of never before secret scenes.
No, I mean, we actually did get some real episodes, but there was a period of time where we didn't. We just kind of got those recaps, and I never liked those.
Well, it wasn't. Mostly, if you'd been following along the way we all do, because we love the show, and
or they would show extra clips that we'd also already seen.
Yeah, we'd get to the end and go, well, shoot, we had seen all of that. Yeah,
that was a waste.
But for somebody new to the show, hope it would have been a helpful recap. It can be overwhelming with all the things that happen in the course of a season.
So it is very nice that we got a real episode tonight.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, we're back at Gaia Camp. It's night 17 after the double elimination tribal council.
Noelle tells the group, "Good job, you guys. That was dramatic."
And we see,
at least James was.
Yeah, and we see Karla saying talking about the James vote out, and then saying that she was supposed to be out of the loop, but Sami told her last minute.
Yeah, but she was still upset that they were going to leave her out of the loop.
Yeah, so I'm not sure what to make of that.
Maybe it was just a wake-up call for Karla that can happen to her, too.
Seems like it would have a cost for Sami, too.
Well, he obviously wasn't in the vote this time, or they chose to, split it a different way. Maybe they were. And
Cassidy tells us that she felt good about blindsiding Ryan because he was coming for her again. And so she finally got the upper hand. She got her revenge for Lindsay. She took him out.
So she was happy. Though she didn't do it alone.
You know who's really feeling good, though?
Jesse.
Yeah. And he said, hey, I know Karla's got that immunity bracelet.
Yep. So they do know. And he said everybody knows.
Yeah. So that's a little different twist, isn't it?
I thought.
All of a sudden, I got anxious, tightened up a little bit there. I'm like, whoa, now, that's my USB you're talking about, son.
Yep, but we also had both Karla and Noelle safe.
Well, we were playing bold and spicy, both of us again.
No.
We'll talk about where that got us as we get towards the end of this.
I was just playing to what safe picks I had that I could try to use.
I choose to interpret that as bold and spicy.
Okay, you go right ahead. I call it desperation.
We see Jesse talking to Noelle and saying Sami is overplaying his hand, but he's happy too in his confessional where he's talking about how he and Cody and Gabler are in the middle. You got Karla and Cassidy in one group, and then Owen and Noelle in the other group, and so they're kind of straddling that, right?
But he didn't say anything about Sami.
No, they had talked about Sami a little before.
It's like,
Well, he didn't mention Sami there, but he started that conversation, at least what we got to see, by saying Sami was overplaying his hand. Like he's trying too hard. And Sami's definitely got a try-hard vibe. Anything else you wanna comment on about that?
No, just
after
that
back from tribal?
I don't know that bodes well for Sami. So I had Gabler going tonight.
If you had to assess where he stood within the remaining 8, it doesn't look like he's perceived favorably.
Well, I would hope by now they could see they couldn't trust him.
Well, and we're going to come back to that. There's more mentions about him as we go through this. So
we'll come back to it.
Reward challenge on day 18. Jeff is in a spiffy black shirt, which Karla acknowledges and compliments him on. What did you think about this challenge? Multiple elements.
I thought it was really good.
The spinning to get them dizzy.
I hate the spinning thing.
The spinning to dizzy is a classic.
Like nausea.
Yeah.
And I don't do well with that at all. So
I keep thinking we're going to see one of these, one of the folks that was a ballerina that's got ballet in their background, and because they know how to spin without.
They know how to pick a point and
something
keep their
like
eyes
that.
On it. Yeah.
Couldn't say I've ever attempted or succeeded at doing it, but I keep thinking there's going to be somebody with ballet experience that's going to excel at one of those. But it's more just the funny that you get to see as they come out of it. And so in this one, they have to stand up on this contraption and spin it and wind up a cord. So they're pulling
a buoy in.
Pulling a rope that's got a buoy at the end of it, and that decides when they're done.
Well, they dangled the pizza and brownies and beer and wine and an
cheesecake
overnight stay. Yeah.
When we get to see it, you can see there's even more. There's fruit and there's going to be the overnight stay and rope, scissors, pillows, and blankets for comfort too. So they'll be inside with pillows, with blankets, and with food, good stuff.
Where's the showers, though?
No mention of that. Just walk down the beach and hop into the ocean and scrub off with some sand.
Well, I guess so.
Yeah.
That's what they're used to doing.
Okay, so they're going to have to spin, wind up that cord, then they're going to have to race over some obstacles. They're going to have to get a sandbag along the way and untie it, and then untie some more stuff. And then when they get to the end, they got to take that sandbag and toss it up onto the top of a pedestal and get it to stay there.
Very tall pedestal.
Yeah.
And it must have been very difficult since, I thought Karla had it right off the bat there, and then it kept falling off.
Yeah, we see Owen come out of the spinning contraption, and he is quite dizzy. He actually just takes time. He gives himself a pause. No forward progress. He just puts his head down and tries to recover. And then they've got the next part is they've got to scramble over a net, and then they've got to go across a balance beam, and that's where they have to stop and lean down and untie the beanbag / sandbag, and then continue over the beam.
Struggle on that.
Yeah, the dizzies are still there. You can cross the net while you're dizzy, but crossing the balance beam while you're dizzy is not going to happen. Yeah.
Even Sami dropped. I don't know why, but I thought he'd have good balance. But Cody was the first one to get through. You think it's because he's a surfer?
Maybe. Certainly that gives him good body sense, good balance.
It's tossed around in the ocean.
Cody, Cassidy, and Karla, they all got their bags untied and zipped on through. And Noelle looked like it was all no bueno, no go for the balance beam.
I felt so bad for her. She was trying so
struggling.
hard.
Yeah, I just completely counted her out at this point. I thought, well, they finally put one in. She's not going to get through here. It's going to be the net again where she got caught. Basically, they're going to catch her on a balance beam. Okay,
so
everybody's getting through. They start tossing, like you said. Karla looked like she had it on the first one, but then it was a series of what became the on-off throws, landing up on top of the pedestal, and then falling off.
And they gave Noelle plenty of time to catch up.
Yeah, you even hear her say at one point that she can't do it. And sometimes you have to do that.
Jeff kept encouraging her.
Sometimes
you have
your
to
brain
let go so that you can do it.
Yeah, you have to quit. I think it must take the pressure off or something, or it distracts your ego for a minute so that you can find your way and find the answer.
How when she was coming off of the balance beam, she hopped down.
Yeah, we've seen her use the good leg hop.
It's like, oh my goodness, I could never do that.
She definitely went to that this time.
She did, and did it well. She got across. And I thought she was going to land it that very first one.
Well, the way they showed it, her first throw was an on-off, too, like Karla's. And then, lo and behold, magnificent comeback. Like a
she won.
Perfect moment. Yeah. She ends up landing it up there on the pedestal. She won.
Nobody appeared resentful in the moment.
No, there was I think everybody was genuinely proud for her.
I thought they were too.
Celebration.
So I do think that it gave people pause after, like, oh, we need to get her out.
Yeah, it rose. Her threat profile rose.
Yes.
For sure.
Yes.
It's like, we can't have this happening. We should not leave her in here this long.
And I don't think Jeff does her any favor when he highlights her. And, you know he's going to do that, but it didn't do her any favors in the game.
So now put yourself in the role of one of the other castaways. Do you celebrate her? Do you talk about, wow, how heroic, or that's incredible, above and beyond,
well,
just
I would
staggering?
have to do that. Yeah.
Because you can do it, and at the same time,
well, it doesn't mean I wouldn't go
publicly acknowledging
but that would
the
be
serious
one reason
nature
to get her
of her
out.
threat. Yeah. So it's a 2-for-1.
Yeah. I think they were all genuinely happy in the moment for her. Mm-hmm. But I'm sure the ones that didn't get chosen to go weren't as happy later on about it.
It certainly could factor in.
Yes.
So Jeff tells them that, oh, yeah, by the way, there's going to be letters from home.
Yeah.
Which they probably knew. They had seen the previous seasons, and those of them that had that kind of, people like Owen, who has an encyclopedic knowledge of the game, realized that
I don't know if they would have fought any harder than they did for pizza and, time away. And
yeah.
That was enough incentive.
Noelle's presented with the classic dilemma: choose somebody to go with you. And her first choice?
Sami.
Yeah.
Were you surprised?
I was. I
definitely was.
Didn't get that, but I think she's gonna try to let us in on some of her reasoning. And then, choose one more. And she says she had to choose Jesse for this because he's been talking about his family since they hit the beach on day one. So that made sense. And then I was surprised that there was a fourth. I thought they had only done 3s before.
I told you they were going to send 4.
You did. You did.
He threw data at me that they haven't done that.
Maybe I was wrong. Yeah. And so one more, and she chooses Owen, who's been an alliance partner. They've been working together for a while now.
Yeah.
He even held her steal a vote at one point to help protect it from James.
Even Jesse makes sense to try to stay in with Vesey, to try to keep a connection.
Plus, sometimes the family moments unravel people.
Yep.
It can knock them off the rails because it hits you in the feels so hard that you lose your focus, at least momentarily.
Well, and Sami has approached them about voting out other people. And so, I think they saw him as at least a potential ally.
So, yeah, Noelle says it's all about never giving up when she gets her confessional at the end of that challenge. Okay, over to Sanctuary there on day 18. And Noelle's telling us that in a blink of an eye, it can all change. And that's what it's been like today.
Owen gets a letter from his girlfriend and his mom and dad.
Yeah. And he says that gave him an opportunity to take a breath. From the frenzied 26-day game version, he really appreciated this moment to check out for a minute and read the letters from home.
Jesse was crying before we even got over there to talk to him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Owen says it'll hit you like a freight train, though.
But how cool. He's been best friends with his wife since grammar school.
Mm-hmm. He said the last time they were sending letters, the last time he got a letter from her was back when he was in juvie. And look how far they've come and everything they've accomplished together. And that lack of connection has made things very difficult for him.
Well, and he's never not talked to her a single day till this in his adult life. And that is difficult because I know when you were, usually you traveled and that wasn't, as big a deal. We would have communication daily. But when you went out into the wilderness for 2 weeks and, I had no clue what was going on.
Yep, no
That's
connection.
where I thought, man, if he's on Survivor, that would be rough.
Yep. Well, now you got this budget version, so it wouldn't be that bad.
That's still a long time.
It's over pretty quick. Zip, zip, and we're done. Back with $1 million. Yeah.
That simple, is it? All right, good deal.
So this is when we get that Jesse reads that line from his kid about "get that money, baby." And wasn't it here that Noelle was talking about Sami being a flip flopper, and that was part of the one she wants to lock him in. Of course, he worked with them for a while, like on that last vote. Even though he did bring Karla in at the last minute, you would have thought that would have perturbed her a little bit.
Well, and maybe that's what she meant. She couldn't completely trust him, but she was trying to build some goodwill.
Keep
to
it, yeah.
Keep him with her.
Keep it going, yeah.
Keep an open communication, I think.
And Sammy's wanting to target Cassidy next. I'm all for that. That's who I had going.
And I was like, no, I have her safe. So I was glad that you lost another point, not me.
I see.
Of course, I lost mine anyway because I had Gabler. So
you guys have no idea how much she
lost.
celebrates when I lose.
And vice versa.
No, that is never the
Yes.
case. I always say, sorry, baby.
I do too.
No.
Right after I go, oh, thank
After you
goodness it
gloat.
wasn't me that lost the point.
Owen says they're planning on a 3-3 split. They'll put 3 on Cassidy, 3 on Karla. Wow. Karla is being threatened. First time, really.
Well, and now, though, that we know that they know she's got an immunity idol, I'm really surprised, that they haven't gone after her before now. Though we don't know how long they've known.
Yeah.
But, Ellie and Janine weren't the only ones that figured out that whole bead thing.
Back at Gaia, still on day 18, Cody is wishing he had some pizza. He tells us that cocktail and food makes me chatty, and that's where the deals are done. He feels like he's missing out.
Well, so he decides, they may not have the pizza, but he's going to go be chatty and
Talk some strategy.
Talk some strategy. Because he's sure the others are. Though I thought, won't Jesse go back and just tell Cody what they...
Yeah.
Tell those people what they said.
And so Cody starts talking about Sami, and Karla chimes in and says, yeah, he's a flipper. So he hasn't won or curried any favor with Karla, I guess. We thought maybe that might be a little different, but she's pretty clear on where he stands when it comes to voting. He's just as likely to flip on you as he is to vote with you, I guess. She didn't come off that Saved by the Bell, here's how we're voting effort that he put in.
So Cassidy wants to target Noelle. Do you think she had an idea that Noelle was after her? She must, right?
I don't know. It didn't seem like that was really what it was about. It's just that Noelle was
she's
such
a big threat.
threat to win, and they needed to move. Yeah.
And she didn't want her to build
Fresh
an
off
even bigger resume.
Fresh off that reward challenge, exactly.
Yeah. Well, had she known that Noelle was targeting her too.
She wants to figure out where Gabler's head is, so Cassidy meets up with Gabler and Karla to chat. And Gabler's plan is, I'm not going to commit to anything. I just want to see who wins immunity.
I'd have voted him off.
That's
Why
so
haven't they
annoying,
voted
isn't
him
it?
off?
Yeah.
That what?
Well,
But they're like, but we want to vote with you, so you let us know. I thought, okay, I'd be more likely to go, fine, don't share anything, be that way, and I'm put your name out there.
Gabler's happy, though, because he tells us he has options. Okay, on to day 2.
Yes, he does.
We needed a 2-day because they stayed overnight over there at the sanctuary.
That's true.
And got rested up. So day 19, we're at an immunity challenge. Good morning, says Probst.
They get to balance a stand or on a
Platform,
balancing board, and with one hand while they stack cards with the other. Boy, that looked really rough.
Yeah, I don't know that we've ever had as many falling montages as we got in this one. They really went for it.
I wonder how long they try.
Because we got multiple. Here's everyone dropping, and from some substantial builds.
Yeah.
Well over 3/4 of the way there, and then dump.
Well drops, Karla drops, everyone drops, blah, blah, blah. And Jeff says, well, we're 15 minutes in. It's like, oh, jeez. They've had that many drops already in the first 15 minutes.
And then here we go with another falling montage. Yeah. And then he announces that they're 28 minutes in.
Owen and Cassidy are in the lead. Oh, they failed. Cassidy drops.
Yeah.
Karla's next. Now it's back to anybody's game. I wonder how many times that happened.
Over 28 minutes. When he comes back in that last time and he says, well, we got Cassidy, Karla, and Sami are in the lead, and Karla promptly drops after the acknowledgement. So I
am afraid of what I might have said to Jeff.
Yeah, I'm sure there was a lot that
you can't get frustrated. You got to keep digging.
Yeah.
Dig deep.
Sure.
I'm like, oh, Jeff, that would not be the time when somebody's really that frustrated. You're more likely to say something that you shouldn't order. But
did you see any strategies that sort of stood out, or
during the challenge?
Yeah, what did you think about the stacking? Some people started with 3-sided. They started with a triangle as their base. Other people were doing 4 as the base.
I really didn't get to analyze all that yet. I'll have to go back and really.
What about that last part, the way Cassidy went for the win?
I thought that was good because it was stable, and she knew she had to get it up high enough that she could put that single card up there. And that was, to me, the safest way to do it. It took a lot more, but she had
flat stacked at the top, which was adding the minimum amount of height each time.
Yeah.
But then went for one standing vertically, and then probably moved the balance enough so that she got it to the mark.
It worked.
Yeah, so Cassidy won immunity, which was not my plan. What'd you do that for, Cassidy? So she won.
She did it just because you voted her out this year.
Yeah, that I was hoping she got voted out. Mm-hmm. So she wins individual immunity, is guaranteed now to be in the final 7. And Cassidy tells us that she proved to herself that she could do it. And you remember at the beginning of the season, she was all about, I am going to manifest the win. I'm going to see it and be it. Well, so she's a step closer.
She did. Yeah. I hated that Jeff pointed out when Karla, 1 tile away, drops. Mm-hmm. It's like, again, choice words for you, Jeff.
Back at Gaia there, day 19 after the challenge, Cassidy tells us she had dreamt about this, being able to win an individual immunity.
That's cool. She met her dream. Oh, that's awesome. I love it when
Noelle needs a new plan because Cassidy foiled that first one.
Yep. That her winning was a little hiccup, she said. And
we see Gabler talking to Noelle and telling her, hey, the Cassidy and Karla were targeting you.
So Noelle's back to can't trust Sami. Still can't trust him. I guess what really threw me was she's like, but Gabler is a straight-up guy. I thought, what?
Well, okay, we don't see him that way, but we don't.
That way.
I
don't mean that he's not a good guy for real life or anything, but he's not really communicating enough information in the game for me to consider him a straight-up guy.
To make that conclusion?
He's very vague and wishy-washy, in my opinion, at least from what we've been shown. But
yeah, well, we got a different view than they do from the comfort of our home. We see Jesse and Cody talking and strategizing. They're talking about how it's hard to get Noelle out. But Jesse tells us he wants to take his emotion out there in the game out and let the emotion that at home help him make that decision.
And he's like, every time we take out her number 1, she just gets another one.
Yeah. So he comes back again and again and again.
Cool.
It's got to be tonight, he says. So he comes up with a plan.
I like all his, 1, 2, and 3s.
Uh-huh. Get that cover story going.
You have to have a cover story. For every conversation you have to have a cover story. I thought, wow, no wonder that's exhausting.
He circles back to talk with Noelle, and Noelle wants to target Sami.
So she wants him to go talk to Sami
Uh-huh.
to see where he's at. And he's like, perfect. I
Yeah.
wanted to talk to Sami. So now he's got the perfect cover story. She gave it to him.
Yeah,
He didn't
split
even have to
vote
come up
between
with one.
Sami and Noel. Uh-huh, yeah.
Yeah. So, and number 2, you need a fall guy. You got to throw him under the bus, and Sami would fit that bill.
Yes.
And number 3 was you got to have a backup plan. So he's talking to Gabler.
Blindside Noel. But we
Just-
gotta, I like that, we gotta consider the jury. So he helps Gabler think through.
Well, and Jesse tells Karla they're trying to get us split votes on you and Sami.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the people with the idols are, I don't know if it's a little crazy or they just got nerves of steel, but they're not playing those idols.
Well,
Hanging
you gotta
on
conclude
to
they're
'em.
making some good reads. So
Yeah,
they need to
yeah.
stick with the
Their
process that's working, whatever it is,
Yep.
the gut or the making sure to talk to everyone.
Mm-hmm.
And I think Jesse really sealed the deal by telling him, me, you, and Cody are going to be in a great place after this one. Mm-hmm. That seemed to really speak Gabler's language.
That you need
Made
to,
that connection.
You want to be in a power position after this vote. And I thought, oh yeah, he knows what Gabler wants to hear.
And then they cut to Cody and Jesse. They circle back to each other, and they're both surprised nobody's mentioning their
We haven't
names.
heard our names. Have you heard my name? No.
Q Gabler.
Yeah.
We see him. This is what we got next time on Survivor last week, where we see him talking to Karla and saying he's concerned about them.
That those 2 guys are running the show, and we need to deal with that.
Except it's all left hanging. There was nothing concrete about that
Yeah.
discussion. There was no let's target this one or that one or anything.
Oh, I think
was
they
just,
were just throwing
we'll figure
more
it out.
stuff at us to
Yeah, it looked more like an
So we
editing
don't
trick
know,
to
yeah.
keep us guessing, right?
Yes,
And
yes.
the alligabler tells us that he's got claws and they're going to come out.
yeah.
So yeah, that was my last note before we go to tribal council. Was there a plan, or did time run out on them? What was the discussion they just showed us?
Well, that was my conclusion, even right in that moment, was that, yeah, that's just
For another
editing
time?
throwing us
Yeah.
another, yes, they're talking about it, but they just kind of want us to really not know what's going to happen in tribal council. And I didn't know what was going to happen.
Yeah. Kept us guessing a little bit. So we moved to tribal council there on night 19, and we get to look back at the reward challenge win and
Jeff's got to talk about Noel winning it
sheer
again.
determination. Yeah, he's celebrating that again. And
Well, yeah, and he wants to give her time and to notify the jury about it.
Noel's tells us that, yeah, she's hoping that'll reach that one little kid and help give him the oomph, the understanding, the willingness to go ahead and apply.
Yeah, the encouragement. And Jesse talks about he and Noel have been out here
I love
together
that.
since day one. I'm thinking, you're not saying much, but
No, the best part was, Noel, you made me ugly cry on TV.
yeah.
Oh, that was good. I like that he acknowledged that. That's probably his best line the whole season, as far as I'm concerned.
I don't know if I've ever seen anybody pretty cry that wasn't faking.
Well, some people aren't. They don't. Their face doesn't contort and fall apart. You just get tears,
I don't know
or they
any of
bow
those
their head, or whatever. But I'm definitely an ugly crier when I'm
So am I.
overwhelmed. Anyway, I appreciated that. Enjoyed
I don't
it.
cry easily, so
I didn't get him trying to get Gabler to give a surgery analogy. Whatever.
yeah.
And Gabler tells us in the end, he says, well, I think I know what's going to happen.
Yeah, he kept saying that he thought he knew exactly what was going to happen, and it turns out he did. I was so hoping. I just got my hope up at that point that, because he kept saying that kind of thing, that they were going to pop him.
Oh, that's right. You thought you had chosen him to be
Yeah.
voted out, right?
Yes, I
so you
had.
were
I was like,
scrambling,
oh, hope is not lost.
grabbing at every little thread here. Yeah.
They came to their senses, and they're going to pop him
Uh-huh.
right here. When he thinks he knows if they're just going to take him out.
So we kind of wrap it up with little bit of the classic trust talk, because you can't trust anyone on Survivor, but you got to trust someone. So let's talk about trust. Owen tells us, it rises to the top. You got a plan, but it's not always the case that you know
then
how it's going to go.
You got to wait and see what happens, because you don't really know.
Jesse tells us trust is a currency, and you can't show distrust while you're trying to trust. You can't test it.
Or trying to show trust, whether you feel it or not.
Yeah.
But Sami keeps saying, like, realistic things like, yeah, we don't know what it will be until we see the votes.
I liked how he was talking about when you're watching other people have conversations, you have a conversation with this person, and you see them talking to someone else, and you're like,
they didn't talk to me that long.
They didn't look at me that way. What does that mean?
That's the paranoia.
Get you an alliance partner that'll look at you like this.
That would have to drive you crazy every minute of the day. Oh, my goodness.
Gabler tells us it's a suppressed fight at this point. It's all about taking people out, precision targets.
Well, didn't Noelle say that we don't know who has idols?
Yeah, it's dropping a little
out there, but we don't know who has them.
Yeah.
It's like, you don't? Really?
Well, maybe she does. And
maybe
she was trying to spook Karla a little bit.
Maybe.
And we get Jesse reads the line says the line from his son again, which I actually thought was a bad idea. I don't think you want to be talking about you getting the money. You don't want people thinking about you getting it. You want them thinking they're going to get it, and you're going to help them get it.
Nobody's going to give it to him.
Yeah, that seemed bad.
So, yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
maybe that's just a knock-on from getting to read those letters, though.
And I'm curious what they read into him saying that this vote tonight will lay my foundation for the rest of the game.
It just seemed all
like, I'm talking
he's showing
too
his
much.
hand too much. Yeah.
Too much.
Well, we'll see.
And he's my USB.
No idols or advantages are played. Were you surprised?
Yes.
Yeah, I thought Karla would play something. I thought she might have been spooked appropriately.
Wow, look at that. Nobody's playing again. Wow. Why are they feeling so confident?
Yeah.
But I was like, okay, let's go.
Karla gets the first vote, then Noelle, and Sami gets one. Then here comes another for Karla. Not looking good for my girl. And then here's a second one for Noelle, and a third, and a fourth, and Noelle's out.
And there was a fifth. But
Jesse apologized to her. He immediately, I'm sure there was some sincerity in it, but he apologized, and I thought, oh, good jury management. Because he said, I had to do it. And she said, yeah, I know.
Well, that's what I thought about Gabler, too.
You're such a threat.
Gabler went over and said, oh, you're such a hero. And I thought, is that jury management? That feels like jury management. They were both trying to, soften her, even though they voted her out. Don't hate me. Vote for me to get the money.
Maybe. Yeah, certainly.
No, I think they were having, even Gabler even talked about it in the show that, hey, we have to be mindful of, managing the jury as well. So we know he is.
I don't know that I saw Karla say anything, but she looked mighty relieved. She certainly, I think, felt like she dodged one there. What'd you think about this episode? Got a reward challenge, got letters from home, got them rocked emotionally because of that, had a reward and an immunity challenge, a classic, stacking the cards.
I think and balancing. They filled it quite full.
Yeah, it wasn't super exciting or innovative in terms of the overall scale and scope of the game, but it was a solid episode with a reward and an immunity challenge, and it was interesting to see how it played out.
And I went into tribal really not knowing who was going.
And this feels to me like the first time they really took a big player out, someone who should have been taken out earlier.
I think I had her going last week.
Yeah.
Should have let it roll over. Though you
during the double, you had her.
Double, you shouldn't let that doubles roll over.
No.
But that was a good choice. But I was really busy and got up and just went, just pick somebody. And I always think Gabler's a good choice, but so far that has not panned out well.
But he hasn't been a threat to win. You could argue that his threat level has continued to rise, I would say, just on a minor grade as the games progressed.
I think I had used him as safe
now we're getting to
like
the core of it.
5 times
There we go.
before the merge.
That's what's really prompting that decision.
So I haven't been able to
No
have
safe
him
votes
safe. There's
left.
only one.
Yeah, one left.
But, well, I told you I didn't make good choices with that this season, so I'm paying for it now.
Yeah. It cost me too. I had Noel safe. I took a
Yay.
risk. There we
At least
go.
we went through
There's
it together.
the celebration. Next time on Survivor, we see Gabler talking to Owen, and he says, I have a plan to get to Final 3. And then he tells us, I'm hiding in plain sight. I don't know what that means. And
Yeah.
I don't doubt he has a plan. I don't expect it to be much of a plan, but
Or for it to last more than a minute. So, yeah.
yeah, it's probably, hey, there's 3 of us here from our original tribe. We can band together, pull one more in, and we're good to go.
I don't know about that, but
I mean, that's what I'm saying. I expect to be the extent of his plan to get to Final 3.
so I've never really heard of boat mail, but they said boat mail.
Yeah, it's come at later stages, or, we obviously saw the boat when they were taking them off to the Shipwheel Island kind of thing.
Yeah, but this one they
mail.
just
And then they dash off in a mad scramble, Owen tells us.
yeah, and so
Ooh, this really got me, though. This challenge that they showed, this is a Survivor classic.
yes,
And it's called The Last Gasp. It was originally in Palau, and then I had to go look it up because it's one of my favorite ones. And because it can force such a panic. So they had it in Palau, they had it in Fans versus Favorites, Micronesia, and then the last time they had it on was Karamoan. So this will be the 4th time that we've seen it where they have to, it's a water challenge, their cages underwater, and they have to be under the cage, and the tide, and what happens is the tide comes in.
So you feel trapped anyway, and if you get any water in either your nose or your mouth, that's got to be terrifying.
It's where we've seen, the historical innovations, the hand snorkel. That was a classic that people try to extend up above
their nose,
the top of the cage, and they even
with their hands.
They have Probst commentating with saying, here comes another big swell, and you see it rising up to where it's just like 1 inch below the cage. And people struggled, and they try to stick their face in between the bars on the cage to get up there to get air. And
yep, we've seen all that before.
yes,
but it's easy to panic,
Yes, yeah, absolutely. It's a tough one. You can easily get yourself out, and they have scuba divers in the water. You don't ever see them, but there's teams under there to help in case somebody does panic, and you can easily just push yourself right out from under the cage, the bars there. But still, when you see people really pushing themselves through that.
Well, and we have Jeff telling us, gasping for breath, that's how you do it on Survivor.
Yeah. So you have to time the waves. You got to try to go up when the wave goes down and press your face through the bar and then get a deep breath, because when it really gets down to it, at least in the past, people will go under and they have to hold their breath, which can be hard to do when you're on your back, especially if you're not ready for it and you get some water that hits your nose.
Yeah, you get water in there and suck it in and you're done.
Yeah, you could be out quick for sure. And we've seen that happen where people just panic.
Well,
they're only in the challenge for a minute.
Yes, of course, you can get out around the thing, but I would think you get a little bit disoriented being so much under the water. And it would seem like if you took in a mouthful of water or a nose full of water, it would feel like it was taking forever to get to the surface around that.
And to clear, yeah.
Yes, if you feel like you're drowning.
Yes.
And so, yeah, I would think
I'm
that
excited.
would be a scary
This
one.
is just one you don't get to see it that often. Again, this will be the 4th time it's ever shown up in the game.
You were hooping and hollering.
Yeah. So who do you think is going to nail it?
Didn't look like Cody was.
Cody looked like he was struggling, but he knows how to hold his breath, and he knows how to do breath management if he's a surfer.
Yeah.
That's part of what they learn because, they can end up getting rolled and they have to stay under sometimes for minutes.
So anything can happen.
I think it'll be an
Who's gonna
interesting
do
test for
well?
Gabler. Let's see how chill Gabler is. And Sami, I'm going to vote him most likely to push himself too far.
I'm thinking Owen might do okay.
Maybe. It's all about can you manage yourself. So I think there's two of them. A man is one, and then one of them a woman one. And Kara Moen, a woman one.
Well,
So.
I look forward to seeing who wins this one.
Yeah, you got to think Cody's got an advantage, but it did look like he was struggling. That did kind of look like that was him doing the hand snorkel, right?
Don't know.
It's
Yeah.
fast. It goes by really quick.
Yeah. And I really don't know who else would be good in that.
Cassidy might. She's been practicing calming herself, so she might have some skills. We'll see. Karla might surprise us.
Karla always surprises me. She's done really well in a lot of the challenges.
So we see the votes after they're done with Next Time on Survivor, and we see that Sami and Owen were the ones that put the 2 votes on Karla.
Yes.
We'll see if Karla gets some
Now,
revenge on them.
Was that the consensus by the group that they would split the vote that way for some reason? Couldn't be, because Karla wouldn't have let them put it on her.
No, I don't think so.
So I'm really thinking that...
Especially since Owen's historically been voting with Noelle. So they got on the wrong side of the vote, is what I
Yeah,
would say
I
is
think
most
so,
likely
too.
at this
That
point.
nobody was really trusting them.
Noelle threw the single vote at Sami, and then everybody else, Jesse, Cody, Karla, Gabler, and Cassidy all
Well,
voted
don't
for
you
Noelle.
think they all said, oh, yeah, we're voting Sami?
Yeah, that was part of the plan that
So,
Jesse was talking
yeah.
about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But we know that Cody, Jesse, Gabler, Cassidy, and Karla stuck together once again.
Did you realize I just said that like 30 seconds ago?
Yeah, you said their names.
Okay.
You didn't say they stuck together,
Okay, you're right.
but they did.
Yes.
So yeah, I guess Gabler stuck with the boys, or Karla. Who knows? Really, who he's really close to.
Yeah, I'd say another thing that if there was something that I was a little disappointed at the end of this one was that we didn't get the story behind why Jesse. I was hoping we would get the story behind why Jesse and Cody switched their vote from targeting Cassidy last time and ended up choosing Ryan. That was such a misdirect. I guess it was just an editing trick in the end.
I don't know that they would have felt Ryan would be as trustworthy with them as Cassidy would be.
Well, they were talking about voting her out. So.
I know.
And they had a plan.
They didn't trust her and all of that,
If
but they
James
must have
goes,
thought she was better than Ryan.
We take Cassidy, yeah. Anyway,
And
we didn't get any insight on
He's a
it.
bigger threat to win.
Yep. How about a JSFL update?
I can do that. Amy in SoCal and Rajmi are tied in first with 46 points.
Nice.
9 people lost their USB this week. 84 people lost a safe point, you and me included. 86 people earned a vote off point. Congratulations.
Yeah, good job.
In the side challenge, Jeremiah's still in first with 45 points.
He is holding strong, isn't he?
Coming in tied for second with 41 points, Chris, Parker, and Rebecca. So Jeremiah's 4 points ahead of him. With 40 points, we have Justin and Robert. With 39 points, Stacy.
Yes, I am
And
knocking on the basement door.
38 points, Cold Mike.
Don't let me in, Cold Mike. You keep that basement all to yourself, buddy.
I don't think it's up to him.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I took a risk. It backfired.
Yep.
Big old 3-point week.
Yep, that's what you get for giving me such a bad time about not choosing my safe points well. See, it backfires. You made fun of my eyesight, and now you can't see without your glasses.
There you go.
Comes back on you, I'm telling you.
It's karma.
You better quit making fun of me.
No, not Karla. Karma. Hey, if you want to come join us in our next listener feedback show on Saturday, we would love to have you. We have a great time. We get feedback from all the super fans. We've done the recap. We've hit the broad strokes about what happened with a little bit of analysis and some time to think about it, but we really look forward to Saturdays when we get to hear from everybody else. Now, we know here in the States it's holiday weekend, so there may not be a big turnout, but just in case, you can sneak off for a minute. We got a voicemail line to make it really quick and easy, 206-350-1547. You might be dying to talk a little bit about Survivor after all that talk around the table and while you're watching the games and the parades and stuff. There's a toll-free number, too, 844-643-8737. You can record your own audio. That gives you a lot of flexibility, too, doesn't it? Or you could type up a quick email and send it to us, either that recorded audio comment or an email to Joanne and Stacy Show at gmail.com. Feedback's due noon Pacific time. That might be a little tricky, but you can do it. And that's on Saturday, and we ask that you try to keep your feedback in that 3-minute range.
Well, and we do want to wish everyone a very happy Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
And if you're traveling, please be safe out there. And also, I would love for all of you to join me in wishing my mother a happy birthday tomorrow on Thanksgiving. It's her 95th birthday.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm very happy to wish my mommy a happy birthday.
Yeah, good stuff. Anything else?
Nope. I'm content with the episode, even if I only got 3 point week. So
Okay, good to know. Good to go. Have a good one.